You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
Hey everybody, Dave here. Have you ever wondered where your personal information is lurking online? Like many of you, I was concerned about my data being sold by data brokers. So I decided to try Delete Me. I have to say, Delete Me is a game changer. Within days of signing up, they started removing my personal information from hundreds of data brokers. I finally have peace of mind knowing my data privacy is protected. Delete Me's team does all the work for you with detailed reports, so you know exactly what's been done. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/N2K and use promo code N2K at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/N2K and enter code N2K at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/N2K, code N2K. Salt Typhoon infiltrates U.S. ISPs. Researchers hack the connected features in Kia vehicles. Wi-Fi portals in UK train stations suffer Islamophobic graffiti. International partners release a joint guide for protecting Active Directory. A key House committee approves an AI vulnerability reporting bill. India's largest health insurer sues Telegram over leaked data. HPE Aruba Networking patches 3 critical vulnerabilities in its Aruba access points. OpenAI plans to restructure into a for-profit business. CISA raises the red flag on Hurricane Helene scams. Our guest is Ashley Rose, founder and CEO at Living Security, on the creation of Forrester's newest cybersecurity category, Human Risk Management. And the FTC says objection to the world's first self-proclaimed robot lawyer. It's Thursday, September 26, 2024. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your CyberWire Intel Briefing. Thank you for joining us here today. A Chinese government-linked threat group, Salt Typhoon, has reportedly compromised U.S. internet service providers to collect sensitive information and potentially launch cyber attacks. According to the Wall Street Journal, Salt Typhoon has infiltrated several ISPs' IT environments in recent months. The Washington Post previously reported similar attacks on major U.S. providers, comparing the tactics to those of another China-linked group, Volt Typhoon, known for targeting critical infrastructure. Salt Typhoon's goal is to maintain persistence within ISP networks, enabling long-term access for cyber espionage. This is part of a broader Chinese strategy to infiltrate critical infrastructure and gather valuable information, from user data to communication records. U.S. agencies like CISA, the FBI, and NSA recently disrupted another Chinese botnet, Flax Typhoon, used for DDoS attacks and malware deployment. Experts warn that Salt Typhoon is just one of many groups. Cybersecurity leaders expect more nation-state threats targeting ISPs, highlighting the need for enhanced cybersecurity defenses. Security researchers have uncovered a vulnerability in Kia's web portal, allowing hackers to remotely take control of the connected features in millions of modern Kia vehicles. Exploiting a simple flaw in the portal's back end, the researchers could reassign control of vehicles from the owner's smartphone to their own devices. By using this method, they could track the car's location, unlock doors, honk the horn, or even start the ignition, all by accessing the vehicle identification number through the license plate. While this hack didn't compromise critical driving functions like steering or brakes, it posed significant privacy, theft, and safety risks. Kia patched the vulnerability after being alerted in June of last year, though the researchers highlight that such security gaps are common across many automakers' web systems. Similar vulnerabilities have been found in other brands like Honda, Toyota, and Hyundai, exposing a broader issue in the automotive industry's web security practices. Network Rail, the UK body responsible for train infrastructure, is investigating a cybersecurity incident after Islamophobic messages were displayed on Wi-Fi portals at major train stations. The compromised landing page referenced the 2017 Manchester Arena bombings. The issue has affected Wi-Fi services at 20 stations, including London's major hubs and key stations like Manchester Piccadilly and Birmingham New Street. Network Rail, British Transport Police, and Telent, the company managing the Wi-Fi, are investigating. Initial findings suggest the attack involved unauthorized access to a legitimate administrator account at Global Reach, which manages the landing pages. Telent confirmed that no personal data was affected. Experts emphasize the vulnerability of public Wi-Fi and the need for stronger security, especially in critical national infrastructure. The incident remains under investigation by the BTP. The Australian Signals Directorate, CISA, and international partners have released a joint guide titled Detecting and Mitigating Active Directory Compromises, providing strategies to address common techniques used by malicious actors to exploit Active Directory. As the most widely used authentication and authorization system in enterprise IT networks, Active Directory is frequently targeted for privilege escalation and access to sensitive user data. Organizations are urged to review the guide and implement its recommended mitigations to enhance security and reduce the impact of Active Directory compromises. The AI Incident Reporting and Security Enhancement Act aims to push the National Institute of Standards and Technology to establish a formal process for reporting security vulnerabilities in AI systems. Introduced by Representatives Deborah Ross, Jay Obernolte, and Don Beyer, the bill passed the House Science, Space, and Technology Committee. It directs NIST to include AI systems in the National Vulnerability Database and consult with other agencies to standardize AI security incident reporting. However, implementation depends on available funding, and NIST faces challenges with resource constraints and an increasing number of vulnerabilities. Despite passing by voice vote, concerns were raised about clearly defining AI-related terms and excluding foreign standards organizations from adversarial nations. Proponents plan to push for a full House vote later this year. Indian insurer Star Health has filed a lawsuit against Telegram and a hacker called Shenzhen after personal data and medical records of policyholders were leaked through chatbots on the messaging platform. The lawsuit also targets U.S.-based Cloudflare, alleging its services were used to host the leaked data. A court in Tamil Nadu granted Star Health a temporary injunction to block chatbots distributing the data in India. This case follows increased scrutiny of Telegram's content moderation, with further hearings set for October 25th. HPE Aruba Networking has patched 3 critical vulnerabilities in the command line interface of its Aruba access points. These flaws could allow unauthenticated attackers to gain remote code execution by sending specially crafted packets to the PAPI management protocol. The vulnerabilities affect Aruba access points running instant AOS 8 and AOS 10. Administrators are urged to apply the latest security updates with temporary workarounds available. No active exploitation or public exploit code has been reported, and other Aruba products remain unaffected. OpenAI plans to restructure its core business into a for-profit benefit corporation, removing control from its nonprofit board to attract investors, sources told Reuters. The nonprofit will retain a minority stake and CEO Sam Altman will receive equity for the first time. The restructuring could raise OpenAI's valuation to $150 billion and remove the cap on investor returns. While the change may appeal to investors, it raises concerns about the company's commitment to AI safety and governance in its pursuit of artificial general intelligence. 3 top leaders at OpenAI resigned on Wednesday amid the company's ongoing restructuring and funding negotiations. Chief Technology Officer Mira Murati, VP of Research Barrett Zoff, and Chief Research Officer Bob McGrew announced their departures on X-Twitter. It's unclear if these executive exits will impact the funding process. As Hurricane Helene bears down on the Gulf Coast of Florida, CISA is raising the red flag about potential cyber threats. After major natural disasters, scammers love to take advantage, sending out fraudulent emails or social media messages loaded with malicious links or attachments. If you see hurricane-related subject lines, emails, or links, think twice before clicking. Also, keep an eye out for sketchy social media posts, texts, or even door-to-door solicitations about storm relief. Stay cautious and keep your cybersecurity guard up. Coming up after the break, Ashley Rose, founder and CEO of Living Security, discusses the creation of the Human Risk Management cybersecurity category. Stay with us. Calling all InfoSec professionals. Are you dreading the annual scramble to create engaging content for Cybersecurity Awareness Month this October? KnowBe4 has your back with their brand new 2024 Resource Kit, featuring their own award-winning streaming quality show, The Inside Man. This comprehensive kit is a goldmine of free resources designed to both captivate and educate your users. Your users will enjoy free access to the heart-pounding first season of The Inside Man, and for the first time, engage in the Inside Man New Recruits game, where your users become cyber analysts hunting down a malicious insider threat. But there's more. You get access to a resource user guide packed with ideas and messaging, a weekly planner to help you roll out your campaign effortlessly, plus enough supporting training modules and assets to fill a whole month. Cover critical topics including AI and deepfakes, mobile device security, and incident response, all with the free kit. With KnowBe4's kit, say goodbye to outdated, unengaging content. It's all there, ready to go. Learn more at knowbe4.com/cybersecurity-kit. When it comes to ensuring your company has top-notch security practices, things can get complicated fast. Vanta automates compliance for SOC 2, ISO 27001, HIPAA, and more, saving you time and money. With Vanta, you can streamline security reviews by automating questionnaires and demonstrating your security posture with a customer-facing trust center. Over 7,000 global companies like Atlassian, Flow Health, and Quora use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. Our listeners can claim a special offer of $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/cyber. That's VANTA.com/cyber for $1,000 off Vanta. Ashley Rose is founder and CEO at Living Security. I recently spoke with her about Forrester's newest cybersecurity category, Human Risk Management.
So, this is extremely significant for the cybersecurity industry as a whole. For decades, most organizations have been looking at security awareness and training from a compliance standpoint as the answer to their problem. And what's that problem? 90% of cybersecurity breaches have a root cause in some sort of human behavior, human risk. And so, for the last decade, organizations have been, working with partners to train their employees one time a year. They send out some phishing simulation assessments, and that's kind of been all that has been available to them, essentially, to try to mitigate this very large and substantial risk to organizations. So with the growth, the emergence, or the birthing of human risk management, we're now presenting a new and better way, a different approach to these organizations to really solve for and mitigate their number one cybersecurity risk, which is the human side.
How do you expect that's going to play out?
Let me give you some background. Let me give you some history. So,
Okay.
Living Security, was founded in 2017, and when we co-founded the company, we looked at the industry and we said, "Look, humans have been the cause of 90% of breaches plus for forever, right? For all of history, and we've had security awareness and training solutions in market. The data still remains intact. We're not seeing improvement. There has to be a different way to accomplish this." And so we recognize that at that point, organizations and security awareness program owners and CISOs, they were really longing for a way to better connect or start building more of a stronger positive security culture between security and their employees. And so, our first approach in market was trying to lay that cultural foundation and, driving that connection point between security and the average employee. But from the very beginning, we always had this vision that there was a better and more data oriented way to solve this problem. And so, that's where Living Security had come up with the idea for human risk management, which is essentially how do we help organizations identify their most risky employees so that we could better protect them through things like training, nudging, and policy change, and ultimately report on the effectiveness of that program across the business. And so you asked, a really interesting question, like, how is that going to happen? Well, it actually had to start with us just standing up and saying, enough is enough. And so, Living Security sort of put our mark in the industry and said, the future is human risk management. We spent the last 3 years working with some of the most forward-thinking, early adopting CISOs in the entire industry, people that recognized that they needed a different approach to really define and build a product that supported this type of operationalizing of human risk management, and also influencing organizations like Forrester. And so, Dave, this has been, first of all, a 7-year vision, right, from the start of Living Security, but 3 years of I'd say standing on top of a mountain, screaming to an industry that had no idea what we were talking about for quite some time. And now here we are today, 2024, September 19th, 2024. And we now have the validation and the recognition, not just from Forrester, right? This influencing space, but also from competitors in the market who have said, yes, this is the new approach. And hundreds of CISOs that have said, yes, we need to move forward in this direction. So it truly takes a collaboration between both the vendor community, the practitioners, and then I would say these sort of influencing advisory, committees like Forrester and otherwise to drive a new category into the future.
So for the folks inside of an organization who are responsible for their security, what sort of changes will this prompt? What does the future look like for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing is a realization that compliance does not equal security. And I think, it sounds really simple, but if you look at the day-to-day activity of a lot of the human risk or awareness and training program owners, it's really an effort to obtain that checkbox, right? And so we need to first stop and think, how can I make what needs to get done very easy and very simple, right? How do we put compliance on rails so that I can spend my time thinking more strategically about how to actually manage and mitigate and report on human risk? So first is, a little bit of a grieving process. Okay, what I'm doing is not going to work. I need to start changing, right? So that's step one. The second one is really starting to understand that we need to up-level our data and our snapshots and our reporting. For too long, human risk metrics have been in isolation. We've essentially been a siloed part of the security team forever. And so in order for us to properly integrate, we first need to set up those connections, and we need to get access to the data that can tell us what our humans are doing. All of these systems, all of these different security technologies, they're already collecting all of this wonderful, valuable data on your humans. And so the first thing that we need to do after realizing that, hey, what I'm doing is no longer good enough, I can't just, make compliance my objective. We now need to go get access to that data, and we need to integrate into it so we can produce that visibility to what our humans are doing, right? Where are those groups of high risk users? And then once we do that, once we have that visibility, we can start making more informed, smarter, data-driven decisions on how we're going to respond to that. And that's where the strategy piece really gets exciting for us, helping organizations to understand culturally what's appropriate, and then being able to marry that to the data and what it says, and be able to say, hey, this policy is not working for this group. We need to adjust it. So the strategy piece is really where it gets fun. But there's a couple, as you mentioned earlier from a question, there's a couple first steps in place. Realizing what we're doing is not enough. We need to figure out how to make that more efficient and easier. And then 2, we need to go get access to our data so we can have visibility to actually take action from.
And what does it look like on the other side of that? I mean, the organizations that you've worked with who have had success here, is it a big difference once you've enabled these sorts of methodologies within your organization?
So, yeah, at first, yes, absolutely. There is a difference. I could talk about that from a couple different sides of the table, right? So, from a human risk manager, right, or somebody who's going to be managing the human risk program, their job has just become much more strategic and valuable to the CISO organization, right? We're no longer sort of the redheaded stepchild of security, or the team that's just there to engage and drive culture, which are really important things, right? But we're somebody who has a strategic program, right, that aligns to the rest of the security organization, and we have the ability to report on our effectiveness. So all of a sudden, you've just now strengthened, up-leveled, and made this position more strategic, where they're more embedded into the rest of the security organization. So that person's job, they now have, career path opportunities that they haven't had before. So from a security practitioner's or the program owner's perspective, there's, a huge advantage here. From an employee perspective, we're also looking to provide both efficiency, but also clarity and feedback. And so a lot of organizations, people have jobs to do, right? Users are employees, whether they're in finance or accounting or product management or engineering, security is a part of what is important for their job, but they have, revenue driving activities or, kind of operational activities that are really important. And so the effect that we get to have on the employee base is that you're no longer getting training for the sake of training, right? Or this sort of training fatigue that we've seen continue to grow across the industry. We're now meeting you where you're at with the information that makes sense, and making sure that it's contextualized so that you can take the appropriate actions to start or stop doing something that is going to produce risk for your organization. And so there's an efficiency gain that is very, very helpful for the employee. On the other side, I've heard a ton of employees when I've asked them, hey, how do you connect to security in your organization? They say, we only hear from security, once a year. And then on those tricks, those phishing simulations that they're trying to trick me into clicking. But we really have no idea of how we're fitting in, how well we're doing. And so when we think about the opportunity for a human risk management program to drive culture and ownership across the organization, just simply by putting data in the hands of your employees and letting them know, hey, here's where you're doing really well. We've seen just tremendous impacts of engagement, of people understanding the priority that organizations are putting on security, and then actually encouraging them to take appropriate actions, to keep data more secure.
That's Ashley Rose, founder and CEO at Living Security. And now, a word from our sponsor, Cortex. Security teams face a barrage of more security tools, create more complexity. More devices need protection. More specialized focus areas create more silos. The security landscape is changing fast. How can security operations transform to meet current threats? Cortex by Palo Alto Networks consolidates SecOps tools into an integrated platform and helps organizations stop threats at scale with AI, automation, and analytics. Learn more at paloaltonetworks.com/Cortex. And finally, an online service named Do Not Pay, the self-proclaimed creator of the world's first robot lawyer, has agreed to a $193,000 settlement with the FTC after overpromising on its AI's legal prowess. Part of the FTC's new Operation AI Comply, the case revealed Do Not Pay's claims, like replacing human lawyers and handling serious legal cases, were more hype than fact. The FTC said Do Not Pay hadn't tested its AI on actual laws or trained it to provide accurate legal advice. Even worse, the company claimed consumers could use its AI to sue for assault or check small business websites for legal violations, but these features didn't hold up. In addition to the settlement, Do Not Pay must now warn customers about its limitations and can't claim to replace professional services without evidence. It's a reminder from the FTC there's no AI loophole when it comes to deceptive practices, as they also crack down on fake reviews and other AI-powered scams. And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to cyberwire@n2k.com. We're privileged that N2K CyberWire is part of the daily routine of the most influential leaders and operators in the public and private sector, from the Fortune 500 to many of the world's preeminent intelligence and law enforcement agencies. N2K makes it easy for companies to optimize your biggest investment, your people. We make you smarter about your teams while making your teams smarter. Learn how at n2k.com. This episode was produced by Liz Stokes. Our mixer is Trey Hester, with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Our executive editor is Brandon Karp. Simone Petrella is our president. Peter Kilpie is our publisher. And I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.